Let's reset. Originally, 4 fires burned across the state. This was back on March 12th. But on March 26th, 2 new fires sprang up in Grant County. The Ashby fire grew to over 36,000 acres and burned the sandhills around Linda Lacey's home. But it didn't spare her neighbors. Chronicle's Beth Carlson sat down with her about the experience.
It was totally black. Totally black. Both sides of the highway for as far as you could see. It was just devastating.
For Linda Lacey and her husband, the Ashby fire is not the first blaze they've had to battle.
We had experienced this 2 weeks ago with the Morrill fire, which came within 20 miles of our home, and we had evacuated then twice. And so everybody took a breath and said, okay, we're in the clear.
Then Thursday, the threat grew even closer.
It just missed it by feet, not yards, feet. And the wind shifted, went back out and went straight east. And just a half mile to the east, it totally took out our neighbor's home.
She says it's nothing short of a miracle.
It's like God took a big, huge bucket and turned it upside down and put it over my house and protected it because it's black all the way around.
Firefighters like Cody Rohrig are still working to contain the flames.
We're going to be in this for quite a while. So we're making sure we're prepared for it. With the fuel loads that we have out there in the fields right now, it's not a matter of if, but when, honestly.
But in the moments of darkness, they've seen the best in their neighbors.
I don't know how many ranchers I've seen with their own personal vehicles out there fighting. Black, ashed out faces. They're in there with the midst of us, fighting alongside of us.
The Sandhillers are tough, and we're all pulling together, helping each other, supporting each other, doing anything we can for everyone.
That's Beth Carlson reporting. While firefighters continue to fight hotspots, efforts to help those affected by the wildfires is taking shape. It's not just the farmers and ranchers. We need to remember the people who've lost sleep and sacrificed their day-to-day lives to help others. Todd Andrews from the Salvation Army is here. He's been out west to help the firefighters battling several of the areas. So, Todd, what did you see when you went out there? How do you describe the enormity?
That's a great word for it, is enormity. I went out for the second wave of our response, which would have been to the Hyannis fires last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And those burned, if memory serves, between 50,000 and 71,000 acres. I'm a Sydney kid from Sydney, Nebraska, way out west. So I know what rural life is like, and I know how much farmers depend, obviously, on the land. It's the lifeblood of their operation. And so my heart was broken upon seeing the scorched earth. I drove south of town, drove to a little west of town, and saw both of the fires, the aftermath of the fires really by that point, and my heart goes out to those farmers and ranchers, and we want them to know Salvation Army, we're here to help them.
We heard accounts from firefighters that would say they would have to drive 45 minutes just to get to a hot spot.
Yeah.
What are you hearing from those firefighters?
Yeah, so I can tell you this, when I was up there for the last part of last week, we served dozens of firefighters out of the firehouse, Sandhills Rural Fire District in Hyannis, a town of about 200 people. And as those dozens of firefighters came through, we heard stories about just kind of the backbreaking work, really, that fighting a wildfire is vis-a-vis maybe fighting a structural fire in town. Two very different animals, as I understand it. You could see the look on their faces, the weariness, the hey, we've been through several rounds of this, the state has. They were tired, but they certainly were unbowed. They were going to keep fighting until it was over with, and they did, and thank God for that.
And it hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
You're serving hundreds of meals a day at one point.
Yeah.
When a situation like this happens, what really is the role of the Salvation Army?
Sure. So twofold. First, to feed and to hydrate the firefighters that are coming through. For example, our first response was out to the Cottonwood fire south of Brady in North Platte, and we served about 2,500 meals over 4 or 5 days to firefighters from 85 different departments that rolled through there to get water for their trucks and provisions themselves. They go out, fight the fires for 12 hours, come back at night, get dinner. So that's our first thing that we do. Secondly is what we're doing more now of, which is the long-term response. We, through our extension offices in rural parts of Nebraska, are trying to reach out to families affected to say, hey, we're here with monetary support. That's phase 2.
We're in an urban area. A lot of people who are watching this at home, they live in and around Omaha. What do people not understand about really the importance of this land and of the toll that this takes on firefighters?
That's another great question. I think it's difficult to grasp unless you see it with your own eyes. One of the reasons why I always try to go to our disaster scenes, I've been to about a dozen of them since I started working at Salvation Army. I want to see it with my own eyes. I better understand it in that case, and I can help shape our response if I can. But Seven's done a phenomenal job of covering this. I know your viewership has seen so many of the stories, and that's got to have an impact on them. I just would encourage them all to keep those firefighters in your hearts and your prayers. And when you see them, say thank you. That's the biggest thing you can do. Thank you. They're one of the most humble, hardworking groups of people you'll ever meet, and thank God they're there to help protect communities.
You talked about how you guys are there in the immediate aftermath.
Yeah.
So they don't have to think about eating and drinking.
Precisely.
You've got that taken care of. When it comes to that long road of recovery, what are really those essential needs?
As we're seeing them, and we're working with rural Red Cross officials out in western Nebraska to help better kind of intake those folks. People have lost property. We've seen that. People have had their lives disrupted by that. So we want to be able to step in, walk alongside them through these very difficult hours of their life and let them know that we're here, we're supporting them, and we'll have monetary aid for them to help them in some small way at least rebuild their livelihoods.
If people want to give to the Salvation Army, how can they do that?
Sure. Easiest way to build would be salarmywestern.org. That's salarmywestern.org. There's a donate button right there on the screen.
Todd Andrews, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Before we head to break, let's give you one more look at the QR code. Again, this goes to the KETV.com article with links to donate to organizations like the Salvation Army. And there are resources if you've been affected or know people impacted by these fires. When we come back, hear from one rancher who not only faced the flames surrounding his house, but battled trying to save his 27 horses. First, a reminder that your comments are an important part of this show. If you want to be heard, email those comments to news@ketv.com. We'll be right back.